this is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. Today, I'm talking with Sam Healey of Flip Side of Board Games.
Flip Side of Board Games, FOBG.
FOBG. For those of you who may not know, Sam is a board game personality. He started out, I first saw Sam live on the Dice Tower. You've been with the Dice Tower for how many years?
Well, I was with the Dice Tower from, if you count when I was doing the podcast with Tom.
Yeah, that counts.
It was after Joe. Joe was there for, I think, episodes 1 through 50. And then from episode 51 to about 150 is when I was doing it. That was back when we were still living in Korea. And that was back in 2000 and I want to say 2006. So I was kind of part of the Dice Tower from that point until about 2009. Okay. And then I moved away from Korea, and Tom was still in Korea. And then in 2010, we both landed in the same spot by we did not plan to do it, but we both landed at the same school, same church in Florida in 2010. And I started doing stuff with him again then. And then I went full-time with the Dice Tower around 2014, 15, something like that. And then was full-time with him for about 5 years.
Yeah, I think I've been watching the Dice Tower from 2010 on. So I remember all that. I remember you showing up. I remember Z showing up. And then all of a sudden I remember the announcement that Z's full-time and then you're full-time. Yep. I was like, wow. And then I remember Tom, he was quitting his teaching job and going. I got nervous. I was biting my nails, and So yeah. I'm pretty inspired by you guys.
I appreciate it. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, we have a great time. We had a great time. We were all buds. We all go through the basic, of, when you're working every day with somebody, you get into their business too much sometimes. Yeah. And we had to grow through all of that, but they're great guys. I have nothing but fond memories of working with the Dice Tower people.
Yeah, the Dice Tower, for those of you who may not know, it's a YouTube channel. It's the largest YouTube channel about board games. Mm-hmm. I got into board games through comic books because I'm a big comic book guy, obviously. Yeah. And I went to a comic book convention, and guys were playing board games at the convention at night. Yeah. And it just opened up a whole new world for me. And then I got into Arkham Horror, the second edition. And then from Arkham Horror, the second edition, I was like, I had to find people at home to play with. And I went online, and I saw this strange thing, the Dice Tower, and Will Wheaton's tabletop. I'm like, people watch other people play board games? Like, it was the most bizarre thing. And I was hooked. I started my own board game convention. Here, I'll show you. I called it John Con.
That's cool.
Yeah, and it was just my friends coming over. We used to rent a hotel and have a meeting, and it was a lot of fun. And the Dice Tower inspired it. I kind of have a YouTube channel because of you guys. There was no way I could do anything board game related, so I was like, I'll do comic books.
Right. That's the cool thing, though, man, about content creation. You just do what you're passionate about. I mean, you can and with comic books and board games, there's a lot of overlap.
Yes,
now, man. I just played. Oh, where'd it go?
Oh, yeah. So I'll ask you, what's your go-to comic book board game?
Well, right now it's Marvel Zombies, man. Have you seen that?
Oh, okay.
Marvel Zombies is something else, man. I picked up just a core box. It's a huge Kickstarter, and a lot of people kickstarted it and went all in. My buddy JT, he lives on the other side of the river. He went all in with his stuff, and his copy of Marvel Zombies is going to dwarf my copy of it.
Oh, and, you got the base set, and he got the all-in pledge.
Oh yeah, he got everything. Yeah. I mean, the base set comes with, I think, 5 zombie heroes and 5 regular heroes, and his copy is going to come with like 10 each or something like that. I can't remember exactly, but it's got. I mean, it's super cool. I mean, it's just a great. I'm a Zombicide fan anyway.
Oh yeah, I could take you over there. I got a whole shelf of every version of Zombicide.
Yeah, well, I mean, mine is like right. Let's see, where is it? It's like right here. So I got Black Plague, and then Wolfsburg, and Green Horde, and Invader, and then Marvel Zombies is over there. But I love Zombicide basically from about Black Plague on. I was this close to purchasing the second edition of the core of the original.
Yeah, they must have changed that rule that everybody.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't. It was the friendly fire rule, and it's like shooting into. It used to be, and I could not understand why they had it this way. But it used to be where if you were shooting into a area that had one of your friends in it, you had to target them first. And I was like, what?
Everybody in the world I know house ruled it so that if you missed, you hit your friend.
Right.
That's the way I did it. You know,
and that's pretty much changed.
I don't even think my friends know that that's the real rule because I you know, why? Because I'll have some rule lawyer. You know, they'll tease me or whatever. Yeah. I was going to ask you what your favorite Zombicide is, but I guess it's Marvel Zombies.
Well, right now it definitely is. I'm doing another collaboration with a guy called with a guy named Brian on his channel, Gaming with ADHD, on Friday morning. And we're going to be painting some of the Green Horde of Abominations. So I like all of it, but right now Marvel Zombies is really hot because it's super thematic. And
as bizarre as it is, since me being a big comic book fan, I didn't get Marvel Zombies. I know. I have nothing Marvel Zombies. Can you believe it? I have everything. I have Night of the Living Dead. I have the first edition. I have the second edition. I got Invader, and I'm all in on everything. But I just said I just couldn't get Marvel Zombies. I don't know why, and I'm kind of regretting it now.
Yeah, well, I mean, at least they are going retail with it, so you'll be able to get a hold of it. You can right now, I think. The copy that I have, I picked up at a store, so you should be able to get a hold of it.
Oh, I just want to say, David Everson's in the chat. He's one of my gamers. We play a lot of games. Hello, Dave. Thanks for showing up, supporting. Me and him play War of the Ring together.
Oh wow!
We had a stand up War of the Ring game. Oh my god, it was like we were biting our nails. I didn't know who was going to win. It was a lot of fun. And I bought that upgraded terrain from Tom did a video on it. Some guy, I forget where he was. Evil Toy Company. They make terrain for War of the Ring. Oh my god, it is like I'll just set up the game and just look at it. It's so beautiful.
I can imagine. Yep, I love terrain. Anything that will enhance the thematic enthrallment of the game. I love that kind of stuff.
When you left the dice tower, I'll never forget your goodbye video. I actually got teary-eyed. Because first off, I met you. For those of you who don't know, I met Sam a couple of times at different conventions. Gentleman, pleasant guy. But you and I have the same game, almost exactly the same taste in games.
Cool.
You know, it's funny because you said Twilight Imperium was your favorite game for so long. I love that game, and I people complain that it's 8 hours. I complain that it's only 8 hours. You know,
I'll tell you what, man. I have been part. Yeah, no, I get you. I've been part of some plays of that game where about halfway through it, I'm like, come on, because sometimes you get those players that just want to min-max everything in the game.
Yes. Fortunately, I haven't encountered that in Twilight Imperium, but that would ruin it. That would ruin it.
Count yourself fortunate because, yes, that's exactly what it does. It just ruins the experience. Instead of it being cinematic, it becomes almost like a bean pusher type thing where you're min-maxing.
You might as well be playing with an abacus. Yep. I will say this. I'll play games with anybody. But Twilight Imperium, I invite you to play because I kind of want to, what's the word? Curate the experience.
Sure. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's an all day investment, and I don't want to be there with somebody that is going to ruin it. So I'll play with newbies. All that matters is enthusiasm.
Yeah. Are you invested in it? That's exactly a good idea.
And then when your favorite game changed to Blood Rage, I was just like, you know what? I think my favorite game is Blood Rage too. So like and then I'm a Memoir 44 freak.
Yeah.
And I remember you did a video. You said you had the case, the green case that you put it in. Yeah, Sam, I spent about 6 months tracking down a case, and I made offers to people till I finally got one.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The only thing, you have terrain for that. Where did you get terrain for Memo 44?
I don't have the terrain for it anymore.
Oh.
And the way I think, and I don't know for sure, and I haven't had the time to ask Tom about it, and I don't even know if he would know about it, but I think I accidentally left it at the Dice Tower studio when I left the Dice Tower, because I remember that I had it in the studio for those Me versus the Internet.
That was cool. I enjoyed that.
I know I had it in there, but I looked through all of my Memoir stuff after I moved up here, and I couldn't find it, so it got lost somewhere. What it was, though, is that somebody, a fan of the Dice Tower, knew that I liked it, and it was like a gift from them, and it was like homemade stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm like super bummed that I don't know where it is, but I'm gonna have to at least ask Tom. He probably doesn't know where it is anymore either, because they've moved, I think, twice now since I've been on there. So who knows? But yeah, I loved it. All it was the hills, and I think they had there was some one of the expansions had mountains in it. And
it almost looked like the pieces from Escape from Atlantis, like some of the pieces were thick, but whatever. Like you said, whatever makes the theme more immersive, I'm all for it.
That's right.
Like I'll play out a character like of my, I'll play not as myself, but like it's the characters like in Twilight Imperium. If I'm like a fungus person, I'm playing a little weird. You know what I mean? I try to play as a human so I don't freak out any of the new people.
That's funny.
My buddy Michael Williams asked, what is the flip side of board games? So I guess
all right, well, Flip Side of Board Games is my new channel that I've started on my own. So basically I was with the Dice Tower as a content creator up until about 2019. December 2019 is when I moved up here to Washington State, and that's when I had to kind of walk away from the Dice Tower. From there, starting in January 2020, I started working for a publisher, Mythic Games, and then worked for them until last year around May 2022. And then about August 2022, started working for Monster Fight Club, which is based out of Virginia. And so was working for those companies, and just wasn't hitting with me anymore. So I decided to resign from my Monster Fight Club job and go full-time on my own channel. And FOBG, the Flip Side of Board Games, is my new channel that I have, that I'm doing reviews, playthroughs, live Q&As, unboxings, collaborating with people like you, John, doing that kind of stuff full time. So it has grown much faster than I was expecting it to grow.
I think I remember the day you announced it, and then I went to check on it, and you were like 2,000 subscribers in almost 24 hours. It was amazing. Good for you.
Well, yeah, I'm super happy about it. I'm super humbled about it too, because I was not even I'm almost up to 4.2 thousand right now.
Good for you.
And I couldn't thank my audience more, because no way was I expecting it to grow that fast. So I'm really super pumped about that. Still haven't been able to monetize yet, because I don't have the hour.
Me too.
Just yet, but
I buy comics like I'm monetized, but unfortunately I'm not monetized.
Right? I was just thinking that I was at a store on Monday, interviewing their owner and spending time in their store and getting B-roll footage for a game store spotlight series that I'm doing. But I bought a bunch of games on there because, you know, with
You had to.
channel, you kind of
Because you walked into a store.
Yeah, exactly. So
I know that feeling too well.
but you know, it is what it is. So I'm doing some stuff. I have been able to make some money doing a couple of previews. So
Good for you.
I'm getting that. That's pretty much where we're doing. But I'm not gonna charge people to watch anything on my channel. Everything on my channel is free, and that's how I want to keep it.
Yeah, and I'm glad you're back on, because the American style games need more need we need more representation. We need more champions.
Yeah.
Sam, I said before that Sam and I think we have the same exact taste in games.
Yeah.
So as much as I love the Dice Tower, I like Mike DeLisio. I think stepped up. He did a great job. And Mike and I have similar games, but you, Sam, your style of, anytime you liked a game, I was like, I think I'm about to spend $60.
Right. No, I get that, and I appreciate it. And that's one of the cool things about having content creators. You know, you can have them on both sides of the
Yes.
aisle, so to speak, where you watch them because you know that you don't like the same kind of games, or you watch them because you know you do like the same kind of games, and both avenues give you the information that you want.
Right.
So they can steer you to games, and they can also steer you away from games.
Yeah, with the Dice Tower, you guys, even if I didn't like a game, you guys explained it, and I was like, oh, okay. They liked it, but I think that's not a game for me because of X, Y, and Z, or that looks like a game that so that's what I liked. You guys are all different now. There's so many people over there.
Yeah, there are.
And it's you and your wife.
They've grown. What's that?
It's you and your wife over at the flip side now, right?
That's correct. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm the one doing most of the reviews and stuff like that. But my buddy JT and my wife both come in for the playthroughs and for the Q&As and stuff like that. And as I get a little bit, my feet on more solid ground doing this, we're going to have other people from my gaming group here in town join us as well. So right now it's just, me and JT and my wife and maybe, some of my older kids that they're adults now, but for right now, it's just basically me and JT and then my wife as well on the channel, but we'll be getting other people in there.
That's cool. So, how do you, I got to ask you this because it's comic books and board games. What do you think of Marvel United?
I've only played Marvel United once, and that's the card game, right?
No, Marvel United. It's with the little chibi guys. This a Simon game.
No, that's the one I haven't played yet.
Oh, I love it.
See, here's the thing. I'm not a huge fan of chibis.
I didn't back it when it first came out. It was like one of the first, because I'm a CMON fanatic. I get all CMON. For those of you who don't know, it's a board game company, and they make Zombicide that Sam and I were talking about earlier. But they're famous for the miniatures. It started Cool Mini or Not, and it's so I was like, they're making a Marvel game. I cannot wait for the minute. And then I saw these little chibi figures, and I didn't back it. And then when they did the X-Men, then I went all in and I got all the old stuff that I missed because I'm a crazy person. But it's a fun game. You could change it any way you want. It is a fun, simple game, and I bought more copies of that game to give to other friends.
Really?
Because it's a good game to play with kids. So a couple of my friends have kids who are into Marvel, so I was like, we're gonna play this game. It's funny though, you forget that it's not really newbie friendly. Like, so people who only play Monopoly, you give them Marvel United, they're like, put the cards in a circle and this, you're like, oh yeah, I got to be there to teach them.
Well, I tell you what, I don't like chibi minis. I really dislike painting chibi minis because I'm not good with the eyes, and you kind of have to be good with the eyes when you're painting chibi minis. I found that out with Super Dungeon Explorer back in the day, but super not good at it. But a buddy of mine, Dan Shalari, he's actually the sales manager at Monster Fight Club. we were doing a painting series when I was still with Monster Fight Club that we were putting up on that channel, and he's super good. Now, we didn't do any of the Marvel United miniatures in that series. We were just doing the cyberpunk stuff that Monster Fight Club had. But he would show me when we were talking to each other. He would show me some of the stuff that that he was doing for Marvel United, and he just did a tremendous job. So they look great. I just don't like it.
Yeah.
I just don't like it.
I actually, I'm not a painter, but I painted that game because
Yeah.
I figured superheroes only have 4 colors. They're not that super detailed. And I don't know any better. Maybe it's naivete, but I thought like the chibis would be easier to paint. So I'm actually pleased, but I'm not going to paint like Marvel Zombies because that is just too detailed for me. Or like Rubbing Bones or something like that. I would just destroy a perfectly good game.
Well, it's interesting because when you have the smaller miniatures, even though they're more detailed, you can kind of take a lot more shortcuts with it. If you're just wanting tabletop quality, if you're going with like, Gold Demon or Gold Demon like level quality where you're trying to get a trophy, then yeah, they're super hard to paint because you have to use super fine brushes and
I'm going blind.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But if you're just going for tabletop quality, the smaller miniatures allow you to take a lot more shortcuts and still have the miniature look good. With those chibi heads, though, it's like if you don't know if you're not good at it, it's going to show, and there's just not a whole lot you can do about it. But so I'm a lot more comfortable painting the smaller miniatures. Well, about 32 millimeters is my favorite size. 32 to maybe 30. I don't know, maybe 38. Those are my favorite size because, I can take some shortcuts and it'll still look pretty good.
Are you're not like Vernon? Vernon is he was like the painter for the Dice Tower for a while. He refuses to play a game unless it's painted.
Yes, and he will actually paint the game while you're playing the game.
Yes.
He did that on a couple of our live streams back then.
I've seen him do that. It's incredible, and they look great. Look great.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, Vernon makes me look like I'm blind. Whenever you put something I did up to something he did, it's like, who painted this? And
you go to take a turn and it's not painted, and then you take your next turn and it's painted. You're like, what?
Yeah, that's right. I remember that vividly. Yep.
Oh, another one of my regulars, Eddie. Thank you for coming, Eddie. So, I gotta ask, were you a comic book kid growing up? Did you like to read comics?
I did. Okay. Yeah, I mean, and really, it was more. I've always I cannot remember. Now, I watched Justice League, the cartoon, all that kind of stuff when I was a kid. I never really read DC comics though, and I've always been drawn to Marvel. I don't know why. I'll be honest with you. Now, I was big into Superman. I was big into Batman.
Right.
That's about it.
Yeah.
And what kid? Well, what kid didn't like Wonder Woman? And Linda Carter. She was beautiful. Still is beautiful.
I saw her at an ATM once.
Really?
Yeah, I'm waiting, and I'm getting all frustrated because the person in front of me is pushing the buttons wrong, and I'm like rubbing my head, like, come on! And then the person finally left, and I was like, oh, thank God, finally! And I was like, I was about to, my head was going to explode, and the woman behind me goes, oh, it wasn't that long. And I turned around, and I was going to say something nasty, and it's Linda Carter. and my eyes got big. I turned into a chibi, and I just said, "You're beautiful." Like I turned into a stammering idiot. And she went, "Thank you." And then I probably took 20 years doing the ATM because I couldn't concentrate.
But so I mean, I read Marvel comics for a long time. I never was the guy that would go and get every episode though. Every issue. Sorry, not episode. I would read more of the graphic novels.
Yes.
I was more into reading the graphic novels than issue to issue. But yes, I used to read comics frequently. I don't want to overstate it, but I was definitely more into the graphic novels than I was the issue by issue comic book.
Well, like you said, the board game people and the comic book people have a huge overlap. I think.
Yeah,
I think it would be bizarre to find people that are into board games that like, nah, I never read a comic book. But I was like you when I was a kid. I didn't read DC when I was a kid. Until like I think high school. Then I started reading DC. But something about the Marvel characters that I just got really into Spider-Man. It was like more realistic to me.
Yeah. I totally get that. I mean, you've got, I couldn't the two DC characters that I really kind of came into were, Batman and Superman. I couldn't really relate to Batman because my dad was in the military. We were not. I mean, we were well off. Don't get me wrong. My dad was an officer, and we never struggled, but we weren't rich,
Right.
And so I couldn't connect with Batman. Superman, he's an alien. I'm not gonna connect with him either. But some of those Marvel characters, like you were saying, they were just regular people, and
the goofy, nerdy kid in high school. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So, never been an Iron Man fan. I'm a huge Captain America fan.
Yeah, I love him. Look behind me.
Yeah, I see it, man. I'm envious, brother. I'm envious. But my car is actually stylized after Captain America. It's a navy blue Jeep Renegade, and the front grille that has the seven bars on it. I've got it red, white, red, white, red.
Oh, cool.
So on that, and then I've got one of the back stickers in my window is on your left. Whenever he's running past the Falcon.
That's pretty clever. That's really clever.
So it's stuff like that. I just have fun with it. But but I mean, even Captain America, Scott Rogers started off as this, puny guy, and then he was, he took the super soldier serum and became buff, but he's still just a regular dude,
Yep.
So that I was able to connect with those kinds of characters much more intrinsically, I guess you could say, than I was anybody on the DC side.
Yeah, I got a Green Lantern over here.
Yeah, I see that.
And I still, even as a kid, I didn't like the Green Lantern. Like, to me, he was like, I don't know, like just this magical god from space or something like that. Like I just couldn't understand his powers. It didn't make sense to me, But Spider-Man, I could understand. The Thing. He's big, ugly guy. I always loved the Thing. He's big, ugly. He got the short end of the stick, but he's making the best of it. To me, I don't know. That was just a cool thing. The Hulk. What little kid just didn't get? What do you mean I can't have I can't have ice cream? Everybody likes the Hulk.
Right.
So yeah, I grew up. I grew up as a Marvel fan, and later on, I think it was senior year of high school before I started reading DC. Marvel. Yes. I don't know if Marvel characters were more complex, but they were more human. They were given more like realistic, to the point where DC changed to be more like Marvel. That was the Crisis on Infinite Earths. We're gonna change it, and that's my stepping on point for DC. Before that, I don't really know much about DC.
Well, I don't really know much about DC either. Now, my wife, she is a huge Wonder Woman fan. We have a shrine in our closet. Now it's up, but I mean, it's like set up and where she can display all of her paraphernalia that she has for Wonder Woman. And kind of the same way we did my car with Captain America, we did her car with Wonder Woman. So, it's pretty cool. She's a big Wonder Woman fan, but, she's just come in with, Marvel with me pretty much, but it's one of those things. Yeah. I don't know about them being more complex. Maybe I guess it would depend on how you define that idea of being complex. Are they complex because they are just normal people trying to deal with these superhuman abilities and all of that kind of stuff? Because I would definitely agree with that. Their characters are in my opinion, deeper because of that.
they're more flawed, and because they're more flawed, they're more relatable. This is the way I
Sure.
always like.
Yeah.
Spider-Man's weakness is he had to get the medicine to Aunt May, and he had to pay the bills, and he wasn't rich, and Flash Thompson was bullying him, and he couldn't just beat up Flash Thompson, even though he could, and then the Green Lantern's weakness was yellow. I always thought that was just, who cares?
No, I get you. And I think from that perspective, if that's what they mean by complex, I totally agree with that.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I think they're saying, if I can speak for the people in the audience. Are you watching the movies?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'm current. I think I'm current. The only thing that I haven't seen right now is the new Miles Morales Spider-Man movie that just came out. My son has seen it. He did it without me. His mom took him to see it, and so I'm going to have to go see it again. He's going to get to see it twice, I guess.
My buddy said it was excellent.
Yeah, no, that's what he said too.
First one was excellent.
He came home and he was like, "It's said to be continued at the end." I was like, "Did you even look at the poster? It says part 1, dude." I didn't see it.
I didn't really. When I decide I'm going to watch a movie, I don't watch any commercials. I don't watch any trailers. I don't even look at the post, because I just feel like trailers give away way too much. It's a Marvel movie. I'm going to go see it.
Yeah.
Don't show me anything. Don't tell me anything. I got to see it like within a week or two, because the internet's going to spoil everything.
Yeah, that's exactly the danger. And yeah, I understand it with trailers. Sometimes I just can't help myself though, because I mean, with Disney Plus, all of the Star Wars stuff that they come out with, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I cannot. It's like insta click whenever I see a new trailer for something Star Wars on Disney Plus. So
are you a fan of the Star Wars Rebellion board game?
Yeah, I've got Star Wars Rebellion. Where is it? Yeah, it's right here.
Oh man, yeah. I love it. With the expansion. Oh my god, it's Twilight Imperium, Star Wars Rebellion, and War of the Rings are probably my 3 favorite games right now.
That's a great trifecta. I mean, Rebellion is super good, as far as it. Literally, to me, and I've said this a lot with a lot of different games, but I think I will never not say that Rebellion is Star Wars in a box.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's, I mean, I know you've got great games out there like Armada and X-Wing and all that kind of stuff, but for the space opera version of Star Wars, which is really what Star Wars is, that's what Rebellion is.
Yeah, and it's the first trilogy. It's all 3 movies in one game.
Yes.
You could do so much fun. Like you could capture Leia and turn her to the dark side. So it's not like a scripted game.
Nope.
You're gonna recognize all the cards as events from the movie, but you could do them in different orders. But to me, it's, do I hold back my generals to block you? There's like a chess game going on. Like I gotta, if me and you are playing, I have plans, but my plans are gonna get thrown out at a moment's notice if you do something sneaky and tricky. It's you get into each other's heads. It's so much fun. So much fun.
One of the coolest things about it is that the rebel base can move, and so you can choose where. And so you're the Imperials are trying to hunt down the rebel base and destroy the rebel base, and the rebels are really just trying to survive. Just
wait out the clock.
Yeah, they're just trying to run out the clock. Exactly. So
who do you like to play?
What's that?
Do you like being the Empire, or do you like being the Rebellion?
Oh, honestly, I hate being the Empire.
Okay.
I hate being the Empire. I love playing the Rebels. It's just, when you grow up
be the good guy
for the Rebels, you don't like playing the bad guys.
Yeah.
and everybody's like, well, technically the Rebellion is the bad guys because the Empire was this. I'm like, you need to go sit down and have a coffee because that's not true.
I like being both, but everybody wants to be the Rebellion. Everybody wants to be Luke Skywalker, so I don't mind. And then I do the big rookie mistake that I tell everybody else: you can't get caught up. You got to expand. If you're the Empire, you have to expand.
Yep.
But you want to build the second Death Star. You want to blow up a planet. You want to do all those cool plans, and you're not expanding. And then you just hand in the game to the rebels all the time. I fall for it every time.
Yep. That's true. That's true. But that's one of the cool things about it, man. You I don't play the game to play it right, if that makes sense. I play the game so that I have fun playing it, and
Yeah.
so the person across the table has fun playing it. That's more important to me. I can get whooped at a game. As a matter of fact, I get whooped at my favorite game all the time because I'm
Okay.
doing what I think is going to be cool to do. I want to have a
What
story to tell after it.
I remember playing Blood Rage. I had a game group, and we would meet in a restaurant, and it was this girl, Donna. She there's like a second time at the game, a second time coming to the game, so she was new, and
Yeah.
we're playing Blood Rage, and it really is a bizarre game for newbies. You know what I mean? Like if you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like
It's hard to wrap your head around.
for granted because we've been playing so we're playing Blood Rage, and she is in last place. We're playing like I forget if it was 4 or 5 people, and it's the third age, and she's in, and I'm already preparing a speech. Donna, sometimes you can't be good at every game. I hope you had fun. You know what I mean? And then boom, she got like 230 points and destroyed us. And she knew she was going to do it too.
Oh wow!
Well, set up this whole big
for her, man. That's awesome.
I love that game. I still talk about that game. That was like 7 years ago or so, and I got destroyed, but it was such a fun. Yeah. She played us. Oh man, did she play us? It was great.
That's super cool. Yeah, my wife is. I call her the what do I call her? I call her the sleeper because she will do that sometimes. She'll be like, so like near the end of the game. So what happens if I do this? And what do you do?
And then beat you.
Remember. And then at the end of the game, how'd that happen? I won, So,
not me.
It's funny. I call her the sleeper, and she will routinely deny it, but she routinely wins. So don't believe her.
That one of my most hated things is the guy that's like, what are you attacking me for? You should be attacking Sam. I'm just over here doing my thing. It's like, right. You're winning, Oh yeah. Man,
you're winning. That's why we're attacking.
Why am I attacking you? Because you explain the rules and we're all dumbfounded. So that is, and if you do that, I don't care if I win or lose. I'm going after you. Don't be a whiner. So do you have a regular game group that you meet regularly?
We more than a group. I play well, I'm just now getting back to because we've had some extracurricular activities with my kids that have been kind of getting in the way of it. But normally I play D&D with a group that's online.
Oh, that's cool.
My buddy JT is the DM. He's just across the river. But the other people, one's in New York, another one's in Texas. And I can't remember where a couple of JT's wife plays, so she's here too. And I can't remember where the other person is from, but we're all over the place. So we play online D&D. So that's something I do every week. JT usually comes over at least one night a week, or a day if we're going to do a live stream to play games. My wife and I also host a board game group at our church.
Oh, that's cool.
We try to do that once a month. There's another church in town that's starting up a board game group as well, so I'm going to probably go to that one as well.
Good.
And then there's also another group that is here in town that I've actually never met with, but I'm part of the Facebook group. Okay. So I get meetings every once in a while whenever they're doing it, but I just haven't been able to get to one of those events either. But with having my own channel now, I'm constantly looking for ways to get more games played. So I'm probably
now,
in the near future, I'm probably going to be doing it much more often. But one of the things is that with school in session, we've got 3 kids, and they're usually going in 3 different directions for extracurricular activities. So it's really hard during the school year.
Yeah,
we get more game nights in. Usually we have to wait until the weekends or kind of shoehorn them in on a uncharacteristically free weeknight.
Yeah, I can imagine it's rough. Like I had a regular game group, and COVID. I was living in the 5 boroughs of Manhattan. And COVID ruined everything, closed down all the restaurants. So I moved out here out in Suffolk County. I don't know if you're familiar with Long Island. Yeah. And I bought a house. I fixed up the basement. I bought a big gigantic, All Play is the company. Bought one of their tables, set up everything, and then my wife kind of got sad because she's like, "There's nobody here. You don't know anybody out here." And I said, "Don't worry about it. With my personality, now I got 2 game groups a week. On Monday nights I got Adam and his friends coming over. They're great. Tuesday I got another group of guys. Rich, Dom, and Rob, and they like more Euro games. Adam's group, we like more American games. So I feel like I'm covered all bases.
You got the whole spectrum covered then.
Yeah. I'll play anything. I won't win everything. But I'll play any game.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and I'm very much an Omni gamer as well. I do love the Ameritrash version of games more often. But I will play the like JT. JT is he's not so much of a dudes on a map type of person.
I love that.
He's much more of a Euro gamer style of player, but he'll mix it up with dudes on the map as well. We were playing Memoir 44 live streaming it a couple weeks ago, and he picked it right up. He's a really good gamer, period. So he picks up stuff real easy. But he generally loves the more Euro style game, but he also loves theme. So he likes the Euro style games that are very thematic, which is cool because that means I can really kind of latch into the theme.
Yeah. If it doesn't have a good theme, it's hard for me to get into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I like Azul, because that's basically just moving pieces around. But I do enjoy that game, which I didn't want to play for the longest time because the theme is nothing.
Yeah.
And then just to be nice because you don't want to be hogging all the game nights. I play. I kind of like this.
Well, I mean, it's
it has a theme,
pleasing, even though it has a pasted on theme. Basically, it's still aesthetically pleasing. So that's one of the reasons why I like the game so much is because it has a great table presence.
Yeah, and it looks same with like Sagrada, and I'm trying to think of other games that I like that have no theme, but I still like Risk. I'll sit down and play Risk with people if they want to play, but the modern versions of Risk where you have like a couple of points to win rather than you defeat your friend for 4 hours and they're just sitting there being polite. That was the big problem with Risk.
Yeah.
You're sitting there in Australia holding on for 2 hours longer.
I was more of an Axis and Allies guy than Risk, but the more modern versions of Axis and Allies even are really fun. My favorite one probably right now is Axis and Allies and Zombies.
I was just going to ask you that. Yes.
Yeah, that's if I'm gonna play Axis and Allies with anybody, I would really try to push to play that one because it's so fun. You can send like barges of zombies to your your enemies and have them infect your enemies. I just think you can come up with zombie weapons.
Yeah,
you can weaponize zombies. It's just super fun.
I don't have that. That's something I got to look into. That sounds fun.
Yeah, it is. It's really fun. It's probably my favorite version because I like alternate historical timelines. I love that. So that's pretty much what that's the genre that game lives in, and so I really enjoy it.
I remember one of the dice towers I was playing with my friend Mark. We were playing. I forget what version of Risk, and it was just a 2-player game, him and I, and Eric Lang walked by, and my friend Mark is very outgoing, so he just starts talking to Eric Lang, and we're having a great conversation. He was a gentleman. He was very pleasant.
Yes.
And we were just setting up, and I was like, "Hey, Eric, you want to play?" And he looked like horrified of the idea of sitting down and playing. And I said, "Don't worry, I would tell you cool board game friends. You can sit down and play a game of Risk with us." And he was like, "No, I appreciate." He was nice, but you could just see he had a flash of like horror in his eyes that he couldn't. I know. For those of you who don't know, Eric Lang is a designer. He designed Blood Rage, the game that Sam and I were talking about. Or a great board game designer, makes some amazing games.
Yeah.
I just think it's funny for him sitting down and playing Risk with us.
It's funny. Yeah, he's one of those guys where the reason he designed some of his games, not all of them, but some of his games, the reason he designs it is so that you can destroy your opponents. So it's funny that to me that he would turn down a game of Risk, but it's he's super busy at conventions more often than not. So that's probably has more to do of why he turns you down than anything else.
Yeah, he was. I don't hold it against him.
Of course.
Sitting down to play Risk with strangers is a big commitment. You never know. It's the only game I actually broke one of my friend's noses playing. He was bouncing a tennis ball through the whole game. And I said, "You're gonna knock over the board, Sean. You're gonna knock over the board." No, I'm not. And when it's not his turn, he's bouncing the ball right on top of the board. Pieces go flying. I couldn't.
Oh.
The funny thing is, it was a little plastic fold-out table. I refused to clean it. So every time we played games, I'd open it up and point to the blood stain and be like, "I'm taking this game seriously, guys."
Just forewarning you.
Yeah, just a warning. You want to play Risk? We're playing Risk.
That's great. That's great.
Oh, okay. We have a question from Eddie. Hey, guys, can you recommend any great World War II games? There you go, Sam. Softball.
Okay. Yeah, that is a softball. I mean, right here, this one right here is a great two-player World War II game. It's called Memoir 44. It's designed by wow.
I know.
I just lost his name.
I was hoping you'd remember because it just escaped me.
Oh, I can't.
He does the command and color systems. Why can't I think of his name?
Yes. Why can't he's Richard Borg?
That's it,
Borg.
Richard.
I had Richard, but I was like, there's Richard Lanius. I knew it wasn't Lanius. Richard Borg, designed by Richard Borg, and it's put out by Days of Wonder. It is a light. It's a light war game.
Yeah, I play with my wife, and she enjoys it. She's not a board gamer.
Yes, that's a good one. There's another one. This is almost a Tannhäuser is a kind of an alternate universe World War II game.
But
it's more of it's kind of like a first person shooter on a board than anything else. But it's pretty fun. You take a squad. It's more squad level. Memoir 44 is more, I guess I would call it regiment or battalion level. For as far as the gameplay is concerned, let's see, World War II.
Second game Sam mentioned was a game called Tannhäuser.
Yeah,
Tannhäuser, I'd almost say it's almost like a World War II and like Hellboy kind of mixed together, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's you think of the Hellboy universe without Hellboy.
Yeah,
and that's pretty much what Tannhäuser is.
It's a really cool game. I bought it because of your review of it. I was like, that is right up my alley.
Yep. V Commandos. I don't know if you can see it. Let me see if I can get it there. Yep. V Commandos right there. It's actually called V Sabotage now. They had some litigation about V Commandos. Some video game was also named V Commandos, and they had to change the name to V Sabotage. That's a really good stealth World War II themed game. They also use that same system to do an Assassin's Creed game of it. So that works as well. Undaunted.
What about Attack? Have you ever played Attack?
Attack. I think I did.
It's like the Twilight Imperium of World War II games. I still haven't yet.
No, I did not play that then.
It is got a gigantic board.
Right.
All the different countries. Every turn you have to make income and money, and you buy airplanes. I cannot wait to play this game, but it's a commitment. Look, Attack. It's basically the Twilight Imperium of World War II. It is.
Wow.
Yeah, I haven't played it yet, so it might be horrible. So don't point to the blood stain and say, John.
I think that's about it for World War II specifically. If you come out of
what about that card game he likes?
Undaunted. Undaunted is another World War II game that they have. I've got Undaunted Normandy, but they also have Stalingrad now. They also have Egypt and I think they just came out with another one. I can't remember what it is, but Mediterranean. I think Egypt is the Mediterranean theater, but so Undaunted is another good one. That's World War II themed.
Michael Tannhauser. I'm looking right at it right here. It's spelled Tannhauser.
Yep.
And it's hard to find, so be warned. And if you do find it, you're probably going to be paying a premium. It's long.
I had almost everything. There was a couple of things that I didn't have, but I sold it because it just wasn't hitting the table. I saw this in a store just on Monday and picked it up for about $50.
I haven't even played it yet, and I think I have almost everything for it too. I got so many games still in shrink. My wife makes fun of me. You buying another game? I'm like, yeah, I am. I have a problem.
Yeah. Well, most of mine aren't in shrink because I do unboxings of them, but I do have a lot right now that are in shrink that I still have to do unboxings of. So
I know Memoir 44 is your favorite Richard board game. Have you played what's this Red Alert, the space one?
The Command and Colors Red Alert.
Yeah.
Yes, I did play that, and I wasn't. The component quality is what kind of put it further down the list as far as Command Colors were concerned, and that's not a flaw of the game itself. The system, the Commands and Colors system, is a great system. I love playing in that system, but the Ancients. Command and Colors Ancients, I don't enjoy that because of the blocks.
Yeah, I didn't want to say anything bad, but you said it. You took the words out of my mouth.
Well, I mean, for me, it's not
mini.
It's not anything. It's not saying anything bad about the game.
Right.
This is just a preference because the game still plays the same. It's still a great system. It's still a great design. I just don't like the aesthetics of moving blocks around. With the minis. For Memoir 44, Battle Cry, and Battle Lore, those are my three favorite Command and Colors games. The miniatures are just good enough to kind of push it through, so to speak.
Yeah.
With Red Alert, the space version of Commands and Colors, the minis were the larger capital ship minis were not bad. But as you got down to the smaller fighters and stuff like that, they just weren't very good. The standees that you put some of those ships on were just a little bit too fiddly. So for me, it was a preference thing. The game still played fine, still played well, but it's just that preference of me being a picky miniatures guy. That's pretty much what it is.
Yeah, I still have it in shrink. Have you played his I can't think of the name of it now, but he has a mech game. But instead of the cards, you roll dice, and then that allows you to eat.
No.
But it's a Richard board game, and it's all. I'm going to say it's inspired by the Commands and Colors, but instead of drawing cards, you roll dice, and the dice tell you, okay, this is an attack dice. This is and it's got like little mech figures. It's a cool game. Nobody knows the game that I'm talking about. That's gonna drive
I'll look into it. I know he was back when I was with the Dice Tower. I know he was working on a mech game, and the sci-fi version had just come out a few months before I left the Dice Tower. So I'll definitely try to look into it.
Have you played the Great War?
Yeah. I've got the Great Wars right up there. I've got the tank expansion for it as well.
Yeah,
that's World War One.
Yeah.
But it's again the trench warfare of World War One really plays has some significant changes to that system.
Yeah, it seems more complicated than Memoir 44.
What's that?
It Great War. It's more complicated than Memoir 44, right?
It is. It is. I think that's because of the trench warfare changes that they made to it more than anything else.
Yeah, so many games. That we just talked about Richard Borg. You mentioned Richard Launius before. Richard Launius, he designed my favorite game of all time is Arkham Horror 2nd Edition. I love that game. Yep. That is the game that got me into board games. I grew up comic books, and then comic books and Dungeons and Dragons, and then there was a book Dee Dee's Demigods that was like all the myths of the world, and one of them was these Cthulhu mythology that I didn't know what it meant, and I found out it was an author, and then I kind of got obsessed with that, and then I found out about this board game, and next thing you know, I'm talking to Sam Healey on the internet. And I met Richard Launius. He is such a nice guy, you know.
He is.
And
He is super cool. Super cool. One of my favorite zombie games, Run, Fight, or Die.
Yeah, that is a good game.
Was designed by Richard Launius, and he actually took the time to teach it to me and my oldest son Michael at a Dice Tower East way back in the day when it was first coming out. And
that's
he's just I've been able to spend a lot of time with him at Dice Tower conventions, and he's a great guy. So absolutely, yeah, you're right.
Another game I keep looking over there. What's it called? Cult of the Elder Gods or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
With it's another, but the thing is, you are the elder beings and you're fighting the investigators, so it's like the reverse.
Yep.
I don't see much buzz about that, but I think it's a fun game. But you got to play that with people who are really into games because it's kind of fiddly. But yeah, I like that game a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
So many good designers.
You're right.
Yeah, so many. Who? So I mentioned before that Twilight Imperium was famously your favorite game, and Blood Rage favorite. Are you still sticking with that? Did you change anything?
That's still my 1 and 2 right now. Yeah. Blood Rage is still number 1. I would probably say because of a lack of play, Twilight 4 is hanging on tenuously at best because I just can't. It's not that I don't have people to play with, because I do have people that keep telling me here in town we need to schedule a day, but getting a day scheduled for one game is really difficult.
I played 2 weeks ago, and then I played like 2 weeks before that, and it was just a rarity to get 2 different Twilight Imperium days.
Yep, you're correct. I mean, it's still number 2 because
it's hard to get to.
I still enjoy that game, so it's still number 2 of my favorites. But I can't tell you, I've played Blood Rage infinitely more than I've played TI4, just because it's more palatable, I guess you could say. It's more compact. It's not as sprawling of a game as TI4. But that's one of the cool things about TI4 is that it's such an epic game. So it's on one hand, it's kind of a detriment. On the other hand, it's one of its greatest boons. So that's why it's still my number 2, regardless of the lack of playtime, because I do enjoy the game so much.
It's an event, when you like.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll cater it. I'll get food. My wife will make a big thing of chili. I'll set up a table. We'll take a dinner break. It's an event. One of my friends, my friend Jen, came to. I invited her to play. She's a trooper. She'll play 10-hour games with me, and she was like, "Oh, I met this guy. He likes games." I was like, "No. You're not just gonna bring over some guy. Like, does he like Twilight Imperium? Like, watch a video." And he watched the video, and to his credit, he was just like, "I don't think I can handle this." Because I don't want to torture anybody. You
don't want him sitting there for 8 hours miserable. Yeah.
I was just being a good boyfriend. This is torture. And it's funny because one of my board game conventions that I had, she brought an ex-boyfriend, and we played a Zombie Side. This poor old guy, he was expecting Scrabble or you know what I mean, and he would just pick up the piece and look at her, and she'd be like, "Yes, move it," and he'd roll the dice. Is that good? He was a trooper. I told him, I said, "You got points. You're a good guy."
That's great. That's great. Yeah, it's. You really have to, because there's a lot of people. I actually talked to a guy at church the other day, and I was telling him about my channel and that I was looking for people to play more games with, because I have to get them played, And he was like, "Well, gaming interests me, but it's also intimidating." And I was like, "Huh." I was like, "Why do you call it intimidating?" He says, "Because I never really grew up playing games." So I'm, and I guess there's this fear that, you're gonna, maybe look You're going to look dumb.
Oh, I'm not smart enough to play.
Look like you don't know what you're doing.
Yes.
And unfortunately, that's a stigma that board games have, and sometimes I think if we're not careful, we'll actually perpetuate that in somebody else's mind.
Yeah.
If we aren't careful with how we invite people in and how we act and treat them while they're at the table with us. So that's a great point. And it was kind of an eye opener, not really an eye opener, is more like a refresher, a reminder that, what we consider easy might be super difficult for somebody else that's not used to playing games.
Yeah. I think like a year ago, I played Blood Rage. And to me, I could teach that. That's one of the few games I don't need to look at the rule books. I could just teach that game. Right. The only refreshers are maybe like, what does this god power do or whatever? You know what I mean? But it's hard. So it's. But I remember just explaining it like, okay, you do this, you got rage on your turn, you do one action, blah 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 blah. And one of the girls at the table was just like, I think I'm out. I'm like, what are you talking about? And I had to stop and be like, oh yeah, for somebody who's probably the last time they played game was Monopoly in junior high school. Yeah. Blood Rage, and I'm thinking it's just, but it's Blood Rage. It's just easy. On your turn, you just do one of these three. It says right over here on your card. These are the 4 actions that you can take.
Yeah.
And then like she's playing the card. She has +4, and she gets destroyed in the battle. You know what I mean? It's like, oh yeah, because I had this card that canceled your card. She's like, well, I didn't know those cards. It was kind of an awkward experience. So yeah, it can be intimidating. So,
Yep. With Blood Rage, the teaching games of Blood Rage for me always go long, because I tell people in the first stage, take as long as you need and read each of the cards in that first draft.
Yeah.
Then in the second and third age, you're going to have very similar cards. They're just going to be they're going to be much more powerful. So if you take your time and read those cards in the first age, the second and third age will usually go a lot faster, but not always, because it just depends. Because while they're similar, they still have those subtle nuances in the second and third age. But yeah, definitely. When another aspect of that is that when you play those games so much, it becomes like second nature to us. But to somebody else who's just learning it, it's like trying to eat a Big Mac in one bite. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah. So I know you were into Viking themed games.
Yes.
Have you tried? Because I know you were a big fan of Champions of Midgard. Have you played Reavers of Midgard?
Got Reavers of Midgard right there.
There you go.
I was actually, the last time I played it was just after it came out, so it's been a while. But I also played it as a prototype at a convention. The Gray Fox was kind enough to run me through a prototype of it at a convention that we went to, and super loved it. So they sent that to us at the Dice Tower, and I did a review. I think I did a review of it.
I think
pretty sure I did. Way back when, but it's been a while since I played it, but I've been wanting to get that back. That's one of the reasons why it's here. This shelf is games that I will probably never get rid of, because I enjoy them that much.
If Gray Fox Games, they in this series they made Champions of Midgard, which is like I guess like a hybrid game. Like, for those of you who don't know, there's American style games which are like very confrontational, a lot of theme, in your face, like Risk is the quintessential American style game. Then there's European style games, which I'd say like Settlers of Catan is a lot of like almost like multiplayer solitaire. So Champions of Midgard was like a hybrid of the both, and then Reavers is like a Euro game. And I heard that they're going to come out with a third game that is an American style game. Do you know anything about that?
That was the plan. I don't know if they're still hanging on to it. I think they are, though.
Oh, I would love that. I can't wait to if that ever shows up.
Because you got Champions here, which is a hybrid. Reavers is more of the Euro style game. You're right. And then they were coming out. Man, what was the name of it? I can't remember the name of it.
The name?
I can't recall what it was, but I don't know if it's still in the works or what. But that was the plan, to have a Euro style, a hybrid, and then an Ameritrash style set in the same universe.
Have you ever played 978 Vikings?
878 Vikings, yeah.
978 sounds like a dirty.
Right there. That's one of my favorite Viking games.
Yes.
It's historically themed. Academy Games does great job at putting historical themes into games, and they did a great job with 878 Vikings. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah, that is the same company. They made like the War of 1812.
Yep.
And
1776.
Yeah, why couldn't I remember the year? My teacher would be so mad at me. I couldn't remember the year 1976. And I love playing them with 4 people. They're just such good 4-player games. You know, everybody takes a faction, and everybody has a faction, but there's 2 teams, and you take turns. It's so much fun.
Yeah,
fun.
It is good. It's great.
So many good Vikings. And I know you're a big fan of Fire and Axe.
Yes.
Yeah, I bought that. You did a review, and I spent $40 on a game that's still sitting over there in shrink wrap.
You know what? The original copy that I had of that, Tom actually gave it to me because he hated it.
Yeah.
He hated it. So I was like, I don't know why you hate this game, man. This is a good game. But the whole idea about, being able to swoop in and take somebody else's city before somebody else can get there just rubbed him the wrong way.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that bothering people.
Yep.
But,
that's actually a hybrid version because IDW came out with their new version of it with new artwork and all that kind of stuff. But I didn't like some of the new components. I didn't like that much. So I took the old components from the first game and combined it with the stuff that I liked from the new game and put it in the new box. So.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. All right. I'm running out of things to talk about. I know I just wanted to ask you about yes. You like the Blood Rage. What do you feel about the other 2 games in the series? The Rising there's 3 games in the series. There's Raw, Rising Sun, and Blood Rage.
Rising Sun is the one of the 3 that I don't own. I did play Rising Sun a lot back in the Dice Tower days. Z got a copy in. We got a copy in at the Dice Tower. Tom got a copy in. So we had plenty of Rising Sun coming around. We played it. I wouldn't say a lot, but I played it multiple times. I've played Ankh once.
Ankh, I said Raw. Yeah.
I played Ankh once, and Blood Rage is my favorite. So by far and away, Blood Rage is my favorite out of that series. Rising Sun is my second, and right now Ankh is third, a distant third. Mainly because I don't like that mechanism where they have the last two place characters come together and join. And the reason I don't like that is because usually the person that's in second place gets lapped by third and fourth place.
Yeah.
It's like the second, I try to put try to put myself in their shoes, and that would be a huge bummer. If I'm like doing second place, I'm beating 2 other people in the game, and then at a certain point, they just demolish me because they were able to combine and become more powerful. I get why the mechanism is there, but I really feel like, and I don't know if this is the case, it could be absolutely, speaking out of my rear end, but I think that was a mechanism that Eric loved and should have been cut, but because he loved it so much, he kept it in there.
Well, it fits. Those Egyptian gods did merge, but yeah.
I get that. I totally get that. And I think that's probably, it feels like that's one of the first things that he came up with, and he just never wanted to get rid of it.
Yeah, I can understand. Have you ever played a game called Mezzo? M-E-Z-O?
Yeah, from starts with an M.
Madigo Games?
Yes, from Madigo. Yeah, I have played Mezzos, and
to me, that's like the 4th game in that series.
It is very similar. It is very similar.
I just love that game. I think it feels like the fourth, it's the fourth corner of these, because it's about Central American mythology. You know, Rising Sun is Japanese mythology, Blood Rage is Norse mythology, and Ankh is Egyptian mythology, and then this Central American mythology, it's big miniatures. It's kind of a mix between a Euro game and an American game. I was just like, the first time I played it, I'm just like, this could fit. It's not a trilogy, it's a quadrilogy or whatever the stupid word is.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. And yeah, I have played that. I saw that in the store a couple days ago. I can't remember where I saw it though. It wasn't a couple days ago. It was recently though. Maybe it was down in Texas when I was at Nightwatch. But
if I make you spend $60, I'll feel a little bit better.
Payback. That's great.
I love the Matago games. Have you ever played Giant? About Easter Island?
No, I don't think so. But I completely agree with you. Matago puts out some great titles.
Yes,
they've done really good.
Inish is another one, right?
Yes, yeah, Inish, love that one. Got that one right up there too. Really enjoy that game. That's
a company that if I hear they're coming out with a game, I'm perched and ready. I got to hear something bad because I'm getting it unless I hear an outcry. They're one of those companies.
Yeah, that's great. That's super great.
All right. Anything you want to talk about before I go upstairs? Because I wake up at 4 a.m, so I always I have to end these short because
that's absolutely fine. No, I mean, if people would just do me the honor of checking out my channel and
please do.
if you can subscribe, absolutely do it. I try to do right now. I try to do at least one video a day, and sometimes that video is only a short, but sometimes it's a 2-hour live play. So I try to hit the gamut of different kinds of videos that we're putting out, and the kinds of videos that we put out will morph and evolve over time. So if you'd go check it out and do me the honor of subscribing, I don't think you'll be
Sam's a good guy. I've been following your videos since 2010. Very knowledgeable, very funny. Passionate about what he does. I followed you when you went to other places to work, and I was glad to meet you. And when I reached out to you, you were nothing but a gentleman. I'm honored that you came onto my little tiny corner of the internet, and so yeah, guys, you will not be disappointed. Sam's the real deal here, and he knows what he's talking about.
Well, I appreciate that, and it's all about community, man. That's my whole push right now. I'm going to be covering the games that I want to cover, but more than that, I'm also asking people what they want to see me cover as well, because that's this what we're doing here. This is what it's about. Making relationships, building communities. That's what it's about, and without the community, why have a board game?
Right.
Why have an industry if you don't have a community to go with it? So
that's why I started this channel, is because I moved and I didn't have any friends here, and I wanted to talk about comic books, and then I built a board game table and had people come over, and next thing you know, I'm talking to Sam Healey on YouTube. It's cool. It
is cool.
And comic book people could be it's a very solitary hobby, Yeah. So and board games is the exact opposite. I know solo games is getting big now, but
it is.
I don't. The only solo game I like is Final Girl. Have you ever played that?
Haven't. Not yet, but everybody's raving about it though. So
good. It's I don't want to say I'm changing my mind because I found one solo game that I enjoy, but board games, you need other people, and I love talking to other people about board games and playing board games. So this is so much fun. Thank you so much, Sam, for coming down.
Thank you for having me, man. It's been a blast. I appreciate it, John.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You said that. Yeah. Michael, one of my longtime. I've known Michael for like 20 years. Even though we've never met, he already subscribed, and and he's going to subscribe. You take it all my regulars. Oh, Final Girl is that's fine. Sam, I said this a couple of weeks ago. I had the guys from Allegiance Arts on my channel. I want you guys to be millionaires, so you can make more comic books. Sam can make more videos about board games, and how is that a bad thing? Guys, sign up to Sam's stuff, watch his stuff, make it so that this guy doesn't have to worry about his mortgage. Make it so that he can play games all day long and we can watch and have contests. Why is that a bad thing?
No,
I don't understand jealousy and stuff like that. But Michael asked about Final Girl. Final Girl is a solo-only board game where you are the last girl left in a horror movie. And it's set up modular, so each module looks like a VHS tape, so it's like set in the 80s. And it is so much fun. I did a video on it, Michael, if you look at my back catalog, board games and Final Girl. So there you go. All right, I talk too much, Sam. Anything you'd like to say?
No, man, it's been a blast. I appreciate you having me on, man. It's been great.
Oh, thank you so much, and thank you for coming. I appreciate it so much.
You're welcome,
guys. So check out FOBG on YouTube. That's the flip side of board games. And I have to say, you were pretty sly promoting your website for 10 years on the Dice Tower stealthily. That's been Sam's catchphase. It
wasn't intentional. I swear.
It's funny though. I forget who said that. And I was like, that's pretty funny.
I think Tom said it. Roy told me about it. I think somebody said it. I wouldn't be surprised if Z said it. Z's pretty clever that way.
He's pretty witty. Yeah, everybody from the Dice Tower is a bunch of gentlemen. And I was sad to see you leave. And now I'm glad to see that you're back.
Yeah,
doing your own thing.
It's good to be back. It's kind of like it's kind of like you're coming back to that old pair of shoes, if that makes sense. Because they're so comfortable. It's been.
Sam, you're an old pair of shoes, Sam.
That's exactly. I'm good with that, man. Because those old pair of shoes, those things feel good, brother.
Yeah, us bearded wizards got to stick together. I'm a wizard. You're a Viking.
There we go. Yeah, I'm a Viking wizard. How's that?
Yeah. Oh, that would be terrifying. All right, thanks a lot, Sam.
Hey, you're welcome, John. Thanks you.
I hope you come back in the future. I love talking to you. This was so much fun. Thank you.
Anytime, brother. Anytime.
And bye, everybody. Thanks for showing up for the chat, and subscribe to the Flip Side of Board Games, FOBG. Thanks a lot. I'll put a link when I post this up for future. Okay. Thanks a lot, everybody. Bye-bye.